I know. It's live. Hey, Facebook Live. We gotta look right here. Facebook Live. I'm gonna remind myself to look in the right direction. Let's see who gets somebody to come on in. I didn't have any music today. That's okay. We're live, Facebook Live. I'm Shamel Jackson, and welcome to Sex, the Story Behind the Pleasure. I am the owner of Breaking It Down with C. Jackson and author of Wait, Women in Intimate Tales, book I wrote for teen girls. It's available on Amazon for $10. This is Sex, the Story Behind the Pleasure, and today, this is actually part 2. I titled this broadcast Sweet Fantasy Part 2 because today I have a guest with me who I'll introduce in just a few seconds or a few minutes. But we're going to be continue talking about fantasies and daydreaming. So you want to go ahead and share, well, I guess people go ahead and share the broadcast with your followers. Even if you're in the middle of it, you can still share the broadcast and comment on them, ask questions or anything like that. So that's one thing I do like about the Facebook Live versus the Periscope. You can't comment at the Periscope, but you can still comment on Facebook Live after it's over. So let's see if we get some people coming in. I don't know who's here. All right, but we're still spreading the word there. All right. So as I said, if you look at all my other old broadcasts from last year, I said this year I bring on guests because I just have one story and that's mine. But I want you guys to hear other stories. So that's why I bring people on to give their story because they may have a different view, a different or a different situation, I guess you can say, and be able to give answers or answer questions that I may not have experience in. So, but if once you come in, if this is your first time watching me, please type a heart in the screen or a 1 or just say hey, anything like that. And I want to thank you in advance for tuning in to Sex, the Story Behind the Pleasure. And as I said earlier, please share with your followers. So we're going to go ahead and get into the discussion. Last week, I talked about fantasies and daydreaming and how your thoughts can lead to something good or something bad. I talked about how I dealt with fantasies and things like that, or how I had them. And I said, I didn't know there were other women dealing with the same thing. I'm like, what? It's not just me. Like, you do it too? So it's kind of like, you don't think you're like this weird person, but there are other women. So that's why I have my guest with me. So this is Andrea Brown. Everyone say, hey, Andrea. She's going to be up here just talking with me about fantasy. So, and what her experience has been like that with her. So I remember I was probably about 17. What I remember when I had really started having sexual fantasies, and that's really what we're talking about, sexual fantasies. And so I just want to ask you, Andrea, when was the first time you started having sexual fantasies? I may have had it before. I just don't remember, prior to 17. I say 17 because that's when I started dating.
Okay, well, I'm going to say I started having sexual fantasies in my preteen years, so I started early. And first, I'm going to start off with this saying that basically I came from a family with a background of pornography. My father was basically looking at half-naked women on screen, and that's been something like I've seen it spread down through my family, so I wanted to mention that as well. So it basically was, a generational curse for me. But anyway, I started when I was 13. And it started innocent at first. At first, it was just because I always like to write stories. So I would, my way of writing stories became that I just would get bored sometimes. And so I would write stories. But it got to a point where I wasn't able to find any stories that I'd like to read. So I would create my own stories in my mind. Wow. So eventually it got to the point where I started listening to like rap, and I was trying to follow what my friends listened to. And so I was listening to rap, I was listening to R&B, which of course had music of a sexual nature. And then my innocent daydreams turned into basically, that's when they started becoming sexual in nature, where I started daydreaming about people having sex. So I'm basically having these fantasies of two characters having sex. At first, it wasn't me at first. It was just two characters I Imagine them having sex with each other.
Okay. Hey, thank you for coming in.
So as far as at that point, like I said, I was just, and so I start off like that, and I would do this like during the weekend because, of course, I'm daydreaming. I'm wasting my time, my sleep time doing this. So it'd be stuff I would do on the weekend. I would, because that's the only time I'd be able to get some sleep in afterwards.
Okay. You mentioned one of the things you said like in the beginning, you were bored. You mentioned it bored, and I always say people in the last broadcast I talked about how I have to stay busy. That's just in general. Every time I talk about how do I stay celibate, I say, okay, I have to stay busy. If I'm going to sit here at home not doing anything, or even if I'm at home, I got to stay busy, whether it's reading, watching something positive on TV. I mean, something that I need to do so I won't be bored, because, you know, I mean, if you're bored, you're going to do things that you don't have any business doing. And I always say that with teens. Like, teens usually get in trouble, even as a teacher. And I know Andrea's a teacher too, so she can you know, agree with this. Like, when kids, you gotta have something for them to do every second of the classroom, because they will take advantage of that 1 second. And so if you're a teen watching this, you know it's true. And so so you gotta have it planned, because I realized even as a teacher, I slip up and say, okay, why was it so chaotic today? Oh, I didn't have my stuff together. I didn't have a plan. So yeah, they're everywhere. So it's the same thing as an adult. It doesn't change. Like, if you find some free time, you're gonna end up doing things that you probably should not do. Like, you probably gonna call that ex that you don't need to call. You probably go visit that ex that you don't need to visit. Or they may text you, call you, what you doing, then you be like, oh, nothing. And then it's just all down here from there. Or you may watch something, listen to, you don't have any business to. So I just want to touch on that part about being bored.
Yes.
And so you can, you know, go ahead, and if you had anything else to say about your first, like, when did you start fantasizing? You want to, you know, add anything else to it?
I think that's it as far as when I started. Like I said, it was just the preteen years. That's the years where you're held to, you know, that's when you come to what they call it, that's the age of basic development, where this is your chance, either that's your decision to make a time of either going to heaven or going to hell. That's when you become responsible for your own decisions that you make.
I'm messing up the camera.
So that basically was my chance, and I was you know, and I think I started off on the right foot. I will start off with that. Because 13 and 12 was also the time where I came to truly know God for myself. I came to want to know more about Him, and that's why, thinking back then, I'm like, okay, that's so funny that I'm trying to learn and know more about God, but then all of a sudden, here I am struggling with these fantasies, trying to do all this.
Okay. And what, like, when you had your first fantasy, what was your reaction? Do you think like, that was weird? Or did you be like, you know, this freaked me out, but I want to do it more? I mean, you know, what was your initial, if you remember, what was your reaction to having that fantasy?
Well, because like I was saying, I was bored. They gave me something to, and I'll say this too, I was one that, I just believed, okay, well, I would never do stuff like that. I would never, you know, but you never
say never.
But basically, I was bored, and I was getting the excitement I needed, because the characters would do more than, you know, they would just, you know, I was creating a story with my mind. So
right,
and
I was creating a story.
Yeah, so I would play out these stories in my head, and you know, I would be fine with it.
Yeah, and that's what I told you guys last week. That's what I did too. Whether or not I was dating somebody or not, I would just create stories, and then don't let me read a story that's talking about sex, that's having a sex scene. Then I put myself into that story, and so it just kind of goes on from there. And so I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I mean, the problem with it is, and I mentioned this kind of blended in the definition of fantasy, it mentions something about being unrestrained, like you don't have any control over. So when you start, you know, having these thoughts and you don't stop yourself, it can get it can get out of hand. There you go.
Right.
You find yourself doing stuff like, I didn't think I would do that. Where'd that come from? But as I told y'all, the quote that I like, well, it's a saying. It's a poem, I guess you can say. A thought leads to your thoughts can lead to your destiny. Actions, habits, your character, and all of that can lead to affect your destiny. For example, let's say you see, and I meant to give this example last week. Let's say you see a guy. Maybe he's married, or maybe it's a girl that you see, a woman, and they're married, and you say, "Oh, I think they're attractive." Okay, then you start thinking more about them. You say, "Well, maybe I should talk to him." And you talk to them, so now you talking. So then it can lead into, okay, I don't care if they're married, I'm gonna have sex with them anyway. Or so now you having an affair with somebody that's not your spouse, or if it's not your spouse, maybe it's just your girlfriend or boyfriend. It doesn't even still is bad. And so now maybe you got pregnant by that person, or maybe you caught something, maybe the other person found out, and it just created this whole thing because of one initial thought. So that's why I say, okay, it can get, even though you say, I'm not going to do, like we just said, never say never what you going to do, because I said it. Never say never. So, yeah, you got to be careful with that. But we're going to move on to the next question. I talked about how, books and movies and music that I watch influence me. You have to have these thoughts more. So, is there a certain things that make you have that made you have the fantasies more? Was it around certain people? Is there a certain time, like summertime, wintertime, those type of things?
Well, but like I said before, I started listening to rap. I started listening to R&B. Those have sexual content in them. Also, at the preteen age, I was trying to fit in. I was watching some of the movies that everybody else was watching. And of course, it has sexual content in it as well. So I believe I really know for a fact that played a part in it. And even now that I'm, because I'm trying to walk that celibate lifestyle, and I have to watch what I watch. I have to watch the stuff that I watch and the stuff that I listen to, even now. So as a preteen, I know all the music I was listening to, all the because the part I haven't told you about, like you were saying, as far as, and I don't know if this was one of my questions, but as you were saying, each step you take, each sin you step into, it takes you to another level.
Right.
And
yes.
At first it was just fantasies, but then it's jumped into masturbation.
Okay.
And from masturbation, it went on to something more. So it's just like you can't expect to just do a sexual fantasy and not affect you in some way, because some kind of way it's going to affect you. Right.
And that's good, because I was just thinking, dang, I lost my train of thought. What you say? You talked about, one thing led into, oh my gosh, I lost it, y'all. Oh goodness, man.
So one thing leads to another.
It was something I had. I was gonna give an example, and I forgot what it was. But if you just came in, go ahead and share this broadcast with your followers. Yeah, one thing leads to another. You can't, you have to remember, coming from a Christian background, this is what I will say. The enemy does not want you to just stop at the thought. He wants to completely destroy you, period. That's just my belief coming from a Christian background. But of course, if that's not your background, then I'm not sure what you believe about that. But it's unrestrained. Like, you're gonna get curious. Like she just said, it leads into other things. Like, it's just like I know it was something. It had to do with kids. Oh, it's coming back. It's gonna come back hopefully before the broadcast come over. So that's why I say you gotta catch it as soon as it comes. And people always want to know, how do you stop them from coming? Well, you can't really stop them from coming, unless you die. That's it. There is no, they're not gonna come for the rest of your life. And here's what I was gonna go. Thank you. There it is. Because even y'all won't, and I don't think I shared this with a lot of people, but when I started writing this book, when starting the book was not, it kind of puts it kind of shook up some things. But once I started really truly, this book is finna come out. This company is finna start. Everything that hey Shalane, everything that I am, talking to you guys about that deal with sex, that those things tried to come against me. For example, I'm talking about thoughts and fantasies and daydream. The enemy is trying to throw thoughts. He's trying to get me to think on sexual fantasy. I said, ain't this a trip? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not a trip, because this is what I'm here talking about. So of course there's something that he is trying to get me to do. But I said no, because people always want to say, okay, how do you handle it? No, I changed that thought. If you got to count to 100 to even get rid of the thought, you can, because I know if I keep lingering on to it. Hey Lakota, thank you for coming in. If I keep lingering on to it, whenever I see Marcus, what's the boyfriend I have, whenever I see him, or anybody for that matter, I'm gonna act out on what I'm thinking, even though we just said never say never. But if you are planting the seed, you're putting enough thoughts in your head, that stuff is gonna play out whether you think it is or not. It's gonna play out. So that's what I almost forgot to say. So that's what I wanted. I thought that was a trip. So all this week, last week, I've been grinding. And last week I think it was last week when I was talking about grit and grind. Do you have the grit to wait? Do you have the grit to walk in celibacy? Because it's not always going to be easy, because you're going to have those moments where I'm thinking about this. Oh my gosh, what do I do? Mm-hmm. So, people want to know, people think, okay, just pray it away. Nope. That you got to do other stuff. Like, you can pray all day long, but you have to know, have to have something in you that's going to bounce back, counteract or stop that thought from keep going. But so that's my story. I just think, as I go on and talk about other things, I'm sure he gonna try to throw some attacks there as well too. When I say attacks, just try to make me fall, basically. You said Shalane, get off the broadcast talking about that. So but yeah, now she made me lose my train of thought. So but you have to counteract that, because it can go on and on and on. So I'm just expecting now, whatever I teach about that week he's gonna try to get me to fall off track, or catch me out, or try to catch me on guard. So now I'm ready. I got the grit and I got grind to this thing. So whatever my next topic will be, I know there's something's gonna happen in that area, whether I want to or not. Do you guys have any questions so far? And I know I can go on and on and on, and I will forget that you may have questions, and I won't say anything. Right? You have to put the word into action and stand on your authority. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. I was just, and this, just even with everything, I was just sharing with her before we started the broadcast things that I wanted to see happen. And I was putting that word into action. I was saying those words out loud and stand on it, because if you don't put into action, of course you're going to find yourself in a situation. You're going to be like, oh my God, how did I end up here? What in the world? But yeah, so anyway, Andrea, what are some things that you did to eventually prevent those thoughts from coming? Because they're going to come. Mm-hmm. And some, you can stop some of it from coming, like we say, what we watch, what we listen to, and things like that. But what are some things that you do that, that try to balance it all out?
Okay, some things that I try and do, of course, is always watching what I watch what I listen to, stay in God's word, because that always helps. Basically make sure I have a strong church home.
Yes, he is a bully. I like that. He is a bully. Okay, go ahead.
That's okay. But basically, stay in the word. Make sure I have friends that are grounded in the word myself. People that are on the same page, are not trying to live that sexual. They're trying to live a godly lifestyle. So basically, having friends tied to the godly lifestyle, having basically a life centered around God, seeking God all the time, every day, morning, night.
Right.
Basically, staying in God's face. That's basically what helps me, just keep myself and, keep control of them thoughts.
Yeah, and ever since I started doing this thing, of course, I have to continue to read about sexual topics, whether it's just, the physiological part of it, or the spiritual part of it. And the more I read, the more sensitive I become to things that are around me that deal with that, and how I see, okay, this is not in line. This doesn't agree with what I'm teaching about. And so sometimes people may take that as, oh, she's being too sensitive, or she's being, that's crazy. It's not going to do that. Like I said in the last broadcast, somebody told me, if you're a strong Christian, you can watch whatever you want to watch. I was like, no, lies, you tell. Lies. And so I gave the example how I saw the movie Addiction with, what her name, Lincola, you told me last week. Sharon Neal, she's in the Tyler Perry movies. And so I don't know why. And I said I was not going to go see that movie. And it was on Redbox when I actually saw it. And I was just like, that just took me all the way back to places I didn't need to go. And so, but no, as I, teach about it, I have to continue to read about it, and it just opened my eyes to so much that's going on. I read in a Essence magazine, they was talking about celibacy, and they had different women talking about it. Some of them masturbate. So we're gonna get into masturbation and sex toys and all of that. Let me make sure I stay on track, y'all. So it's almost time to close out, but I want to make sure I don't keep you guys longer than I had planned to. So, but anyway, the article talked about sex toys, masturbation, and we're going to get into all of those things in the future. But there was a lady on there, she was a 42-year-old virgin, or she is a 42-year-old virgin, and so she's actually dating somebody that's been celibate for 2 years, and they're about to get married. So I just thought I was like, dang, 42, that is awesome. Like, you don't meet a lot of 42-year-old virgins. Like, that is like awesome. So I just get excited about anytime I read things on dealing with sex. So that's gonna help me grow, because I got a book the other day at the library. It's written for teens to teach them about sex and puberty. So I'm always trying to stay fresh, but I'm just excited about everything that's going on with it. And so, do you guys have any questions for me or my guest, Andrea? So I wanted to bring her on. I remember her saying that, different areas that she could speak on. So I said, okay, I'm going to ask her, can she come on and speak about fantasies? Andrea, you can go, and if you want to add some things that you think that need to be shared, that'd be awesome.
But I know definitely putting the word to action is very key too. Because I've had some instances where I've had to, when I put my foot down and said, duh, devil, this is what the word says, and it caused the devil to back up. So I'm gonna definitely say, putting the word to action, knowing what God says about different situations. That's why I say you have to stay in the word. You have to know the word for yourself and know what God says about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure you guys always stay prayed up, always stay in a church home that's teaching you the word of God. And
did you think you were doing something wrong because you were being tempted? Is that for me or for Andrea? Or both?
Okay, I don't know. She's...
Well, I'll answer. I just want to know if she wanted both of us to answer, but either. Okay. I didn't think I was. No, I know I wasn't doing anything wrong, because I know. I'm human. They're gonna come. Mm-hmm. The thoughts are gonna come. The temptation is gonna come. Otherwise, he would not say, or he would give us. He would help us resist the temptation. So that means if he's going to help me resist the temptation, that means the temptation is going to come. Yeah. Now, I just believe in that, some of this stuff that's coming to me that may or may not come to me, like I said, what influenced me, things that I read, things that I, people that I hang around, things that I talk about, those things may, help make me be more tempted. And so even even dating someone that really puts you to the test, because now you have a body in front of you. Like, you could be, not dating anybody. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm celibate. Yeah, okay. But when the guy or the girl is in your face, now you're dating somebody, what you gonna do now? And so I talk about in the book how I said, Lord, I got all this knowledge when I was a singles mentor about sex. So what am I going to do now that I have somebody in my face that, that I can have sex with? And so it really kind of, tested me, try to see if I'm going to really stand on what I learn and what I taught about. So yes, it's hard. It's hard when you have a body there. So, even this Thursday, I want to see him. And so now, it's versus on the phone. Okay, he on the phone. Like, this, nothing. We on the phone. And so, there's temptation. Things you can do via, the digital world. But we don't do that. But now versus being in person, there is always going to be temptation will be at the door. So there are certain boundaries that we have. So we won't get to that point. So that's what I have to practice, boundaries. That is probably the thing we have to continue to work on, is having boundaries. So anyway, back to the question. No, I don't think I'm wrong, because I'm human, and those things are gonna come. It's just, some of those things we can't avoid if we
Andrew, do people think you're already married? I don't think so. I don't think anybody thinks I'm already married. No.
What's she say?
What made you ask that question? No, I'm not married yet. Yeah.
I guess she wants to know, can you elaborate on that more, Shalane?
When you're kept by God. Oh, so when you're kept by God, all right. No, I wouldn't say they think I'm married, because I know I don't have the ring on my finger. I don't claim to be married. I know I claim that God helps keep me. I know I can say that it's like, as much as I've asked God to help keep me, and that was one of my prayers as a preteen. Lord, you keep me through this, because Andrea can't keep herself. So.
Oh no. So. Well, I'm saying for me, I know I can't keep myself either.
So, and God has done that, and there is a certain way you present yourself. Wow. Well.
That's good.
Wow.
I think it's so good.
I never even knew that. But I guess God's getting me ready for that right somebody. So.
Oh, Shalane, do you have a prophetic anointing on you? Oh, yeah, do you have a prophetic anointing? But yeah, I said no. I can't keep my own self. Like, no, just no. I can't keep my own self, because if Shamel tried to keep herself, she would not be kept. So I have to constantly depend on, like I was saying, I brought this journal. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This is not just for like stuff I'm afraid to do. This is stuff that I'm weak in, or stuff that the world thinks that we can't do.
You think that I'm married, but you know what? I'm gonna say this, and not to cut you off, Shamel.
Go ahead.
I've gotten like prophetic words about as far as who I'm going to marry, so that might be tied to it. Basically about the type of man that God has for me.
Wow.
So, as far as being married, I know I'm going to be married.
She said she's going to be married. She's
I've got, even just I've gotten prophetic words that I'm going to be married. Even and like I said, and I'll say this, I currently at another church, but basically I got a prophetic word. We've got prophetic words that we're going to some of us gonna get married, and so.
Well, yay. I'm going to a wedding at some point. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to close it. I just want to share some things, events that's going on. Okay, some people.
when you present yourself differently.
I mean, some people, single people may give off a vibe that they're needy, and when you know you're kept by God, you present yourself differently. Oh, okay.
Oh.
So you're saying that when you know you're kept by God, you don't look as needy?
So
is that what you're saying?
Know, okay, I don't have to have no husband. I know what God got me. Basically, is what she's saying, right? So it's basically like, okay, God's got me. God's got every need. God's gonna provide that somebody when that time comes, and I don't have to worry about whether that man's gonna come or not. I don't have to question, and I don't have to be somebody that I'm not.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I don't think I mentioned it in the book. But, you know, the introduction in the book is really like a tease. So I'm going to add in some more to how I met, when I started dating my current boyfriend, I was, like Shalane, you said, I was not trying to date nobody. Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't studying that. I don't care. Don't talk to me. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I was so somewhere else. Like, I wasn't. No, y'all, everybody in their mama could have had a boyfriend. I didn't care. I did not care. So it's so funny. I think I remember telling him this when he came along and he started calling. I was like, dang. Not dang, like I don't want to talk to him. Dang, like I got to make time for somebody else. And I'm saying it like that because that's what I said in my head. Because I was actually out to eat with my family at Corky's. I remember like it was yesterday. And so it was a Friday. It was the Friday before our first date. And he called and I was eating. I said, I'll call him back later. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I got to make time for somebody else. If I really like them, I have to make time for them. So I'm just like tripping at my own self, like, well, how did this all happen? Because few years back, I was like, I want a boyfriend. But now I'm like, no, don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be married. Yeah. Like, leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered right now. Not right now. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't say I didn't ever want to get married, but I wasn't studying it. And so, but here I am almost 3 years later, here we are. So that's the story. That's the story.
It's like, okay, it's me and God. Okay.
That's the story. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close out. You guys, you still have questions, you can go ahead. But I just want to remind people that April 29th, I'm going to be at the Memphis Public Library from 11 to 3. I'll be out there selling my book, Wait, Women and Intimate Tales. It's called Book Stop. So you can bring your whole entire family. It's free. They're going to have stuff for the kids, stuff for the adults. One author that I used to read, she's going to be there. So I'm really excited. It's going to be over 40 local authors there. This is the biggest event I've had done so far as the book. So it's a month and a half or so away. So yeah, I'm gonna get ready for that. And like I said, I do little videos throughout the week, and I'm gonna do them pre-recorded instead of live. But the ones like here where I have guests and stuff, like we go in detail about the topic, I'll do those live. But I'm gonna do other videos, pre-recorded videos, and just upload those to the page. So if you came in the middle, go ahead and share the broadcast. Or if you're watching the replay, go ahead and share this with your followers. And so also I'm working on speaking contracts. So people have reached out to me about speaking. So I guess I better go ahead and perfect things that I do when I speak. So yay. So I'm excited. Like everything's happening so fast. And there's another project that I'm working on that I will not release yet, but it's pretty huge deal. It's a really huge deal. It's so huge. Like, it's huge. And so, but anyway, I'm going to a workshop this Thursday also to learn how to build my website. And so I'm trying to see if this is the way I want to go to build a website. So hopefully soon I have a website coming up. I don't know. I'm not quite too sure about that. We'll see how the workshop goes if I want to go that route. But I do need a website. But besides, whenever I get a website, until then, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But yeah, big project, the library event, and April is Child Abuse Month, so I have someone I'm gonna bring on for that topic. So that's gonna be good. I don't think this person I'm gonna bring on. This is the first person I ever met that's really talked about child abuse that I know that's close to me. So I'll give you guys the date on when that broadcast will be. It will be live. And so I'm going to just got to figure out, first of all, what we're going to talk about as far as child abuse, because that's something that she dealt with, and rape and things like that. So it should be good. There are a lot of people that have been abused as a child, that have been raped. And so maybe you don't know how to deal with it. Maybe you have or whatever. But this is someone whose story that she's going to share during that broadcast. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I've been working on this time thing. It's 7:36 and it's supposed to be on at 7:30. But it's been good talking with you all. Thank you for tuning in. As I said, I'll be going to New Orleans Thursday. This weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So maybe I can shoot some videos, some broadcasts from, I think that would be great. Shoot some videos. I said shoot some videos, the broadcast in New Orleans, because that's where Marcus would be. So he probably don't want me to say this, but it would be really nice if he get on the broadcast and just talk while we are there. So I don't know. Eventually, whenever the time is right, maybe we'll just get on here for like a few minutes and say hey, and then we go. I don't know, but y'all can comment on here and tell me what you all think about him being. We'll just do a quick video when I see him this week or this Thursday. So no pressure, just cheer him on. Tell him to come on. It doesn't have to be anything kind of like hey Keisha, we're getting ready to close out, but you can watch. I'm gonna post this. You can watch the replay because I'm gonna leave it on the page. But yeah. So thank y'all. Thank my guests. Thank you, Adria, for coming on and sharing. So I told y'all it's not just you. It's not just me that's having these sexual fantasies. So no, you're not weird. You're not weird. Do you want to? Shalane, yes, Shalane, call him. She think I'm playing. I'm not playing. I'm so serious. I'm serious. But yeah, I don't know. If he doesn't get on, I'm probably going to get on just because I'm being in a different area and I'm probably going to have something to talk about anyway. So I'm going to be down in the New Orleans, Louisiana. Yes. So, but anyway, you guys have a good night and I will see you guys another time. Bye.